Okay, now it's recording. So what testers do in a job is a big question. We will keep exploring throughout the training, and every day, when you learn something, that will go in that, but I talked number of things yesterday, especially the software testing life cycle. That's whatever in the testing life cycle is pretty much testers do. Besides, they do more some other things too. Testers quality. I did not talk yesterday. I'll talk today again. Actually, I gave some reference in the past. Tester quality is why it is important, because this is a topic which will go in your resume. And as I said, the whole training is integrated. Like, your resume, your project, your learning, all should be plan in such a way that you getting ideas. So the tester qualities means in your resume, if I show you or I'll give you next week, there is a section called interpersonal section where you have to put some qualities which you have, you think. I will give you the generic list. Why? Because believe me, this is the most important when we're hiring, and I have took so many interviews, and when we take the interview we go back, go back, and the first thing we discuss is should we hire this guy and why we should hire or why we not hire, and many times have, oh, this guy is good knowing all the things, but maybe he or she cannot fit in the team, maybe lacking in curiosity, maybe lacking confidence, and all those kind of things. So this is so important that you should know what exactly those things they're looking for. If you not have, this is the time to start working and develop. That will help you in interview, that will help you in your job too. So I'll talk some, and I'll keep talking in future too. And then the last thing, we were talking about the test cases, what is test cases, how they look like, and that is the important thing for the testers. This is the one thing that they do most of the time, either reviewing the test cases, writing the test cases. In the industry, all my trainees has to write the test cases here and pretty much come up with the similar skill what people are doing in industry. And whoever is tester is definitely a manual testing is doing, and some are doing automation too. So these are the things. Probably there are so let's talk about the one which tester qualities, and then I will go back and then again work on the test cases, and then I'll explain you again, show you, and then I'll give you the kind of problem which you have to start working and start writing the test cases. And all your work will be uploaded online. You can just click and see anytime, and we can see. Of course, there's a privacy issue. If someone doesn't like to show their work and it's private, that's only between you and us. And sometimes if you allow, then others can access too. So one more time. Okay, this I was doing earlier, so I don't need all this. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the test stress quality. And also talk a little bit about the QA department, and then we'll go back to the test cases, and then if I also want to talk about different types of testing, which you may heard about it, but I will recommend you how you can learn that thing and how you can focus that part. So the tester qualities means your qualities should be related with what kind of work you do, and more you understand, you have to think in that way, and if you not have, you develop. So let me, and I also recommend you that you should have some examples when you they ask sometime, or what qualities do you have, or what qualities testers should have, or why should I hire you. Sometime that's a very blunt question, and sometimes very difficult to answer, but you need to answer pretty right way. So let's say tester quality. So let's see what tester does. One tester job is assign on some project and tester work on some requirement. You have to understand the requirement so you can write the test cases, and when application will be ready, you can test the application and you can find the defect. You are hired in the industry for finding the defects. That's for sure, so you have to be very clear. So for understanding the requirement, what you usually do is you go to the endless meeting with the business analyst. He or she invite you, hey, you are on this project. I'm giving a business requirement, a talk or meeting or presentation, and that probably go throughout the month. You have you have to go and listen and understand, take some notes, try to visualize how the requirement looks like. It's just like, let's say, if you're working, if you're working for the car industry and you are the tester there, and if the industry is designing some new car, they inviting you as a tester. Even the car is not ready, but you're going in the meeting to understand, oh, how the car will look like and what will be the new features, so that when the car will come, you should know how to test it and what are the features the car should have, and how those features work. So 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 one quality is attention to detail. Why? Because if you ignore the detail, you're not going to test. Those you slip, those you're not included in your test case. So you should have the good, of course, communication, and pay attention what person is saying, note it down. So if you tell in the interview that you pay attention to details, that's definitely matching with the criteria. The other thing is passion about the work. As I showed you guys, like, the testing, a lot of people love it. It's the second happiest job among all the jobs. Why? Because if happy, you're happy, definitely, there's not only the money, there's a lot of other factors. So you should have passion. So there are some qualities I'm going to tell you, and then we'll talk more. Uh, Passionate about testing. And there is also, like, think out of the box. Means yesterday we were talking about how you will test the Gmail, and we talk about we'll do the positive and negative test cases, which we'll talk again. So these are certain words you already know. Then other things like hardworking, of course. Then another one is team player. And so on, So the another is think from the user's perspective. Maybe that's another one. So think from user's perspective. So these are there is a, if you go in the portal, there is a whole one PowerPoint, like what should be the qualities. And why I'm telling you this, because this is the right time you should know the qualities which are needed for the tester, and you should think and build up in those. When I give the assignment, you try to work, and sometimes when you ask someone in the what qualities do you have, or what tester qualities should have, maybe the guy wants to say hardworking, and then nothing, just blank. I will say that's not a good answer. And if you see, all these things are leading is needed for the job. So is the CM part of the SDLC tool? You mean the change management, Arslan? You mean CM is the change management you're talking about? Yes, answer is yes. I'll talk about the change management, release, configuration, build, maybe next time. And that's why I'm keeping that section, separate, so that people should not get confused. That's a very important part, like how the release happened, what is the build, and exactly. Yes, configuration management is also the part of this. So as I told you last time, I talk about all the department except few departments. So I'll talk later. So next time, and there is a very separate section for that. It's very important. That's why I segregated that part. And so guys, these are some, when you say you are a team player, it's possible the guy can say, give an example, and that you are a team player, and then you have to come up with some example, or you are out of box thinking, you can say, give me some examples, which you applied in your previous job or in your other projects. So think about it. Will discuss with me, like you're a team player means you helping the other guys to how to write the test cases, or showing some, the tool which they not know, or it's possible that that person is pretty stressed out with the time pressure, and you are helping uh, to make some work done. So those are some things which we're going to talk. So these are there is another important thing, like think from the user perspective. Whatever application you test, whether my website, whether Infotech Solution website, whether it's Amazon.com, or wherever the website, whatever, generally everything is web solution nowadays. Throughout the training and after the training, when you go to other website, now you start focusing a little bit more. Maybe earlier you were going very casual. Now you start looking, see how the layout is. That's called the usability testing. How is the user friendly the website is, or how the performance looking, it is really slow or it is fast, how the features looking for. Pay a little more attention, and when you are testing, you also think, once this product will be released, how the user is going to feel about this product. Same thing, like, if you are in the car industry and you're testing a car, eventually you're thinking how the customer is going to feel when they drive this car or when they use these features, and that feeling helps a lot. That's where you can put more passion. And as I said, I've seen the people who have 1 or 2 year experience, they become a manager. I've seen the people testing from 15 years, pretty much doing the same thing, all who is passionate about the work. So this is one thing which you have to focus, and you have to develop, and you have to remember and practice, and read in the portal also. Is not hard. So let's move on and let's talk about test cases. People, those who attended here yesterday, I'm asking, if I give you to write the test cases, can you able to write? Or if I give you read the test cases, do you able to understand? Or do you have any question? I will definitely going to work with you, like how to write a good test cases, and those things sometime later. But right now, if you have any questions, because this is so your the next, so you can say, let's move on. Test cases. We'll review one more time. But if I say develop test cases for Gmail application. This is coming to you. Those people who register, this is what you have to start working from tonight or tomorrow, whenever. Develop test cases for Gmail application. And I'm going to show you. Then there is another thing which is coming, is the next is, I'm going to put you on the project. That project is from human resource for the department. I'll show you what exactly, and you have to involve in the requirement analysis. So the second thing is um, start requirement analysis of HR project. And the third thing is, again, is going to you how to test the website and e-commerce site in general. So we have created a checklist of 50 to 60 items. How will you how will you test the e-card? How will you test the search feature? How will you test the registration feature? How will you test this or that? That you have to start looking, because that will also go in your resume eventually. when you do. So the third is, and then you may only know the website the way your knowledge is. Maybe you're not knowing technically, like what is the session or what is cookies or what are the HTTP or HTTPS or protocol. You need some technical too. As I said, that's where you can make a good impact in the industry. The truth is, testers are not the smartest technology people. So what happened is, that way, when you learn and you know some extra, you will really do pretty well. So those things, generally, the developers knows or architect knows. So I'm going to pass you those things slowly. So the third is review checklist for e-commerce website. So these three, you have to start working with me, and that will be the project. Will work offline and in this thing, and in doing the lecture and you building and working on those things. So the first thing is, so basically this is coming to you. So you think like, of course I know how to do this. So my job is easy, but the main thing is when you start working, and so when I'm teaching you, keep keep this objective, that it is coming to you, and then you have to answer those things. And if you really know, this is directly going to help you, in your job. That this is these three things what I'm showing you, you're going to use there. So let's just a minute. So let's go to the first one. Maybe the second and third, I don't know when I'm going to talk. After this, I have some plan for showing different types of testing, because that knowledge I want to use in the another document called test plan. So again, I'll take 10 minutes to explain. We worked a little bit yesterday on this. Just a second. Signing out. Okay, so basically after the class, I'll follow with the people and I'll send you this link. So basically you have to write the test cases for this. So the question is, of course, there are some new people here and think, what is test case? Test case is written in a very prescribed structure, which company, they wants to see in that prescribed format. And you have to write exactly that. It needs a little bit practice. It's a pure English with some kind of practice. There's no tool involved, no programming involved, no IT involved. And that's the tester does. Every tester does. Whether you're automation or manual, you have to write the test cases. So basically, we're going to write the test cases for this website. I'm sorry, this web page. I have to narrow down the problem, so you should not lose. I'm not giving you the whole Gmail. Whole Gmail means you have to also think about whether the sending mail is working or receiving mail is. Don't go to that level. Only to this page. What will you test on this page? And as I said, we will test whether the correct login and password is working or not. We will test whether the incorrect login and incorrect password is not working and giving you the error. If that is working, then there is a defect. Developers make the mistake, and they make a tons of mistake because technology is hard. They work in a group. They have a time pressure. They are dispersed all over the world, and sometimes they not understand requirements. Sometimes they're in a hurry. Sometimes they're not competent. So mistakes, believe me, you always open for that. Never believe, no matter what this. Whenever you have to test, you say, let me do. I'll tell you when I test whether it's working or not. So anyway, so whether the login is working or not working, whether this link is working, whether this link is working, whether some other things are working. So that's what exactly is the kind of, this is what coming to your first thing is you should think what exactly you will test. And these are some points which we discussed yesterday, that these are the points you will test. You write down on the paper, like I will test whether this link is working or not. I will test whether this link is working or not. I will test whether the correct login password I'm able to log in or not. I will test whether incorrect, I'm getting the error, I'm not able to log in. Those are now, so uh, these are some, the points which you noted down. However, the question is develop test cases. Means I'm asking how will you develop the test cases. So let's go back. What is test cases? See the sample which is done by one of the trainee like you, who was very fresh. I mean, no background, not non-IT person, came in the class, and after second week, I just, I'm just throwing the same to you guys today. You started yesterday, I'm throwing, write the test cases. Very direct, and no need to scare, no, not pushing. I'm just saying let's work in that direction. So I'll show that work. I'll also show what is test case. I will request you to write 5 to 6 test cases. If you can write 10, that would be great. So go to the portal. uh, there is another person who will also help me, who is my teaching assistant, who will help you. You can come. I'll tell you how to connect with him. And so go to the test cases in portal. Uh, Go to Gmail here. You have to read Gmail test cases. And this is the work done by 1 hour training. So when you write the test cases document, it is pretty important. What you do is you put these certain things in the test case. You put the name of the application, you put the module, you put created by, you put the date of creation. If you want to make it a little more bigger, you can do. And so you can do the same thing when you either use the Word document or Excel, and you put these things. These are the test cases. This is the first test case, second test case. I was reviewing yesterday. I will give some more minutes. I will wait whether you can have any question or answer. Every test case, I believe, where did I write? Yeah, if you look here, sorry, it's hiding. Um, if you see here, every test case should have, these are the fields in the test case. Test case ID, test case name, description of the test case, detail steps, expected result, actual result. So when you show me your test case, those test case should have contain these fields. If it will not follow this format, I will say not acceptable. Go and do again. So uh, so the best way is, if you see here, this person whoever wrote pretty much following this format. You see here, this person has the test case ID, has the name, description, detail step, expected result, and actual result is blank. I will discuss with you why, and that you should be very clear too, because sometimes people submit and they fill up the actual result. So we'll understand what is expected, what is actual, why it should be empty right now when we will fill up. So we'll talk in few minutes. So the first thing is, you should, when you write the test cases, you don't have to, this is not an exam, you can open the document, you can understand, you can follow, you can try. Now, if you see the first test case is written to check whether the valid username and valid password is working for Gmail page or not. This is the first test case is written. In description, I will say it is not written well description. Maybe the second line is correct, that this test case is validating that correct username and correct password is working. Steps, there are 2 steps. The first step is go and open the URL. As the expected result, you get Gmail page should be displayed. The second step is enter the valid username, valid password, and hit sign in. What do you expect? You should able to log in. That's it. That's the test case is done. Um, Second test case is testing what will happen if you put the unsuccessful, if you put the invalid username and valid password. So the tester is thinking that I'm going to test, I will give, that's a negative test case, where I'm going to give, and I said the tester qualities I was telling you out of box thinking. So there's one here, I'm going to give you invalid username, valid password, and I'm going to test. And if you see, uh, in the detail step, it is entered, it is there two step again, open the URL, which page should be open. And then second step is enter the invalid username, valid password, and hit sign in. And basically what you're expecting is that you will get the error message. Is here that you should not able to log in when you give the invalid username, valid password. Error message in red should be displayed that email or password you entered is incorrect. Message should be followed by a question mark, and that's what. So basically whatever the error message is coming, that should be also in the requirement document, and it is good if you add in a test case, and if it is have some specific color, that should be also. So as I said, the tester job is validate the things. Your job is not to create, not to suggest. Whatever it is, it should be you validating. So these are the two test cases, and if you really read some other test cases which are very self-explanatory, and I would like you should read all these test cases, and and you develop your own. There are 15. There is a test case for checking the link. There is a test case for all kind of invalid valid combination. And there is you know so So I will say, so these are the guidelines. One is you write it down what you're going to test. That's the tester job. You have to think what you're going to test. After going through the requirement, after going through various discussions, is your responsibility to think what you're going to test. And once it is, you decide all those things based on the requirement and discussions, it has to be translated into the test cases, which is like this. Generally, most of the companies, means 90%, 95% will find they follow the same structure. It's possible in some company there is one extra field here and there, like called prerequisite, or some few fields here and there. If they have, you can figure it out and follow the same structure which is in that company. If not, they don't have anything. Generally, small middle companies, they don't. Then you can follow this, and they will be happy. So this is one important thing which you have to do. And I don't know any training, if you know, let me know, where people write the test cases, like 15, 20 test cases this person wrote. And for the HRM, you will be surprised that this person wrote 64 test cases. Pretty crazy. More work you do, more problem you create for us too. Because I have to read, I have to correct, I have to get back to you. That's I'm not including in my hours, and I'm not charging money for that. And you never know, if there are 5 people even, and if I'm spending 10 minutes, 15 minutes each one, that's an hour, 2 hour work for us. But anyway, we like to do, and no repent for that. That's where you get better. Now there are a few more things I'm going to tell you where the confusion happened. I'm not sure, I don't see your faces, I don't know how much you're understanding, you're not understanding. I'm recording this thing, hopefully you can review and listen again. But still there are few confusions. People say, what is this actual result? I remember once I gave someone, and that girl, she filled the actual result at the time of test cases writing. So let me explain you and make it very clear, and then I'll repeat again in future. See, whatever you're doing, whatever the activity which I'm giving you, if you see, did I mention? I said develop test cases. So there are two sections. So if you go to test cases, there are two activities. One is called design, or develop, whatever terminology you use. Then another one is called execute. Test case. What that means? Um, so you focus. There are two different terminology. One called design or develop test cases in the industry, and the other one called the execute. So what I'm giving you is design and or develop test cases. I'm not telling you the execute. So what that means basically, and I will give you that too. We will use the quality center tool. We'll put all this test cases into the quality center, and then you will execute those test cases, and later on you will automate those test cases. So this is exactly, you have to understand the way the people do in industry. So what do you mean by design? Design, let's a little bit go to another example, car example, because that's where you can visualize. Let's say you hire by some company, who's making a dream car, with a lot of good features, and you are the tester in there. So we are in May, and let's say the car is going to be ready by end of July or August, something like that. However, you are hired in May and you are going into the meeting. So what are you going to do there? Why are they paying you in May and June and July, even though the car is still not ready? You're not creating the car. The car is created by the engineers. But what you're doing there is you're going into the meeting, and every day you are listening and reading the document, and you're thinking about learning what features the car will have, and how many gears and what is speed and all those various things. And then you're thinking about what, when the car will be ready in July, what you are going to test. So that is called the design test case. Means in May, June, July, you just going, listening, reading, listening, and then coming back to your department, and you writing down, and you planning, oh, when the car will come, I will test whether, I'll put in the drive mode and see the car goes forward. I put in the reverse mode and see car goes back, or I'll check the headlights, or I'll check, I'll put the ignition key and try to start. And so that is called design, means you're not testing. However, a time come in July or August, and that's why they hired you, and they're paying you in advance. So you should know all the test cases ready. You should ready with your list, and they will say, hey, here is the car ready, go and do this. So what you're going to do is you go to your first test case. That time you're not thinking. All your thinking and part is done in June, July, August. That time you're taking your test case, and whatever is written, if it is written, put the key in the ignition and turn to the right direction. That's what you're going to do. And then you look your expected. Your expected is car has to be started. If it is started, then you go to the actual, and then you're going to fill the actual result. Car is started, pass. Test case is pass. Then you go to the second test case, which is saying put the gear into the drive mode, and expected is car has to move forward. If it is moving, go to the actual and fill up the actual. Car is moving in the forward direction. If it's going in the backward direction, then say, oh, this is wrong. It's supposed to go to the forward. It is going in the backward. This is a defect. I hope you're getting that. So these are the two major things: design the test cases, execute the test cases. You have to remember the terminology, and you have to understand what you're doing. So what I'll do is I'm giving you this test case. This you write. You have to think about expected, like what you are expecting, even though the application is not ready, what you are expecting. And when you go and do the real testing, then you will fill up the actual. So actual has to be empty at the time of designing the test cases. Make sense? Can someone respond? I Okay, good. I'm happy that you got this point. So that's the one thing. So let's do the design, the test cases, review these test cases, ask the question next time, and write down the test case and show me. And as I said, I don't know any training where people write the test cases, and so many. So you should feel proud, some things which you're doing in the training, where training has their own limitations. They ruin the training, they waste your time. If you're doing some good things, which is matching with the real job skills, you go and look my job portal, all the, there will be not a single testing job where they say, have you developed the test cases? And it will go in your resume too, like you develop the test cases when you really develop. Okay, there is another thing I want to talk to you. What happened, how this whole thing worked. A little bit more. I was talking about the car, but let's come back to the software, because you're going to test the software, not the car. So how that works. So basically, this is the process in industry. You go in the requirement meeting, understand the requirement when they put you on the project, develop the test cases, and you share with your lead, test lead, back and forth, and say, hey, this is what can you look, and also the lead will say, oh, this is good, this is not good, this. I mean, he or she supposed to help you, if it's a good lead. Of course, if it's the bad guy, then that. So, but generally they do. They help. They share. You share with your team members. And then of course you have to write. You have to own that responsibility. But once you've done that, then what we do is you will call for the review meeting. In that review meeting, you're going to invite other departments, and that's why your lead will take some initiative, because once something goes to the other department, it becomes a little bit political and department issue. They don't want like the things goes to the other department. So but anyway, they invite you, they invite in the review meeting developers, they invite project manager, business analyst. All people will come and they will read your test cases. You give them printout. They are not there to harass you, to be honest, or give you a mark, because all people are working as a one team. Everybody wants this, all the features should be tested, just like a car. Let's say if you're going back again, if you're testing a car, if engineers are there and other people, they want that everything should be tested. So when the car goes outside, you not have to back up, take it back again or recall the cars and create more mess. Same thing in software, they all work for the same. They wanted you should. So they will come read your test cases and they say, hey, did you missed this thing, or you have not included this thing, or why you are testing this way, or those kind of things. So let me write down. So there's a step called design test cases. Design test cases. Then the second is review of test cases. Then the third is, hold on, I can make better handwriting. My tablet is a little. Just a minute. Okay, so review of test cases, and so review means so who are reviewing? BA, project manager, developers, project manager. There is a product manager. This is a project manager. This is a product manager. Both have a. These all people come and review, and there is a big meeting, and actually your department too, and the testers. They all read, generally and review, and then give you a lot of suggestion. Hey, this is not good, or this should be there, or this should not be there. So you just note it down, all the things, go back, fix it, and then again circulate. Hey, thanks for all your this. This is changes, and you send them back at that document. I will do the same thing with you. You write the document, I'll look, review, give you back, and or suggest something. So that's that way. So why we do this? Okay. The question is why review? Answer is requirement coverage. I will teach you this thing later next, requirement coverage. There's a word called RTM, requirement traceability matrix. That's another document which testers create, and you will create too in this training. Not it's a very simple document, but you have to understand how it looks. So requirement traceability matrix means you make sure all the parts of the requirement are covered, and you have a test cases. If you not have the test cases, then you're not going to test, because at the time of executing the test cases or testing, you're not thinking, you're not writing the test cases. Those things are done. They are already designed, they're already reviewed, all the things are closed. When you're doing a testing, you just going through line by line, open the application, perform the steps, and fill up the actual result. If it's matching expected, it's passed. If not, it's failed. So that's the main reason of review, that the people can suggest you in advance. Okay. So you're going to involve in the design of the test cases. From tomorrow, after this class, you start working on the test cases, writing. The best way is read the document, develop your test cases, and go from there. I'll do the review. In your resume too, it will go eventually that you develop the test cases, you participated in the test cases review meeting, you do exactly what industry people do. And it's pretty much doable for the testing course, unless the guy has not real experiences. If everything teaching from theory, then of course, it's not going to work. What will you do next? Once your test cases are done in this training, or as well as in the industry, generally these test cases has to go into the defect management tool. No one keep the test cases in your Word document and things like that. So we will move to test planning. Let me change the color. Uh, Test planning and defect management tool. Which tool is that? We are going to use HP Quality Center. Pretty popular tool, roughly $100,000 tool. Now, a lot of industry, use. If you are good, you will get a lot of good job openings. But make sure you know how the tool works. You use that. So what are you going to do in this tool? You're going to keep all your test cases in QC. That will be your goal. So let's say tomorrow you join the industry after this training. What will be your job? You will go into the requirement analysis meeting. Then you will write the test cases. Then you go into the review meeting and review your test cases. Then your manager will say, put the test cases into the quality center. Do you all know these four things? I don't know. Probably not. Um, the developers do the RTM or testers. All these documents, uh, traceability matrix is your job. You are paid for doing all those work. All these four things which I'm talking about: develop the test cases, going in review meeting, putting into the test planning document tool, and then develop the RTM, which I'll show you, and you will develop. Is already developed in my portal, and you will develop too, and you see. So when you go in the industry tomorrow, you have to do. There is a very, very high chances, I can say almost 99%, 1%, I can maybe, not sure, unless they put you on something specific, you're going to do these four things. Now, I've seen like a lot of calls I get, I talk to people, the people call me all over, and shoot email and say, oh, I completed the training. I said, did you write the test cases? Oh, I know the test cases. The guy showed me. I don't know how to write. Do you know anything about the project, how they were? Oh, no, I never worked on that. It was not in my training. What about quality center? Yeah, I know a little bit about that, but I don't know how to open, and I don't know how. I just showed, some PowerPoints and things like that. If you are going in that way, my answer is you may get a job, High probabilities you will not get, but maybe some places, they're so desperate that sometimes they hire, but you will never feel comfortable. You never enjoy your job. You always under pressure. You always think like, oh gosh, today is past. What will happen tomorrow? I don't know. Why? Because the people in industry, they work very close. They sit very close. They look, they know each other. If you're not knowing all the feature of QC, doesn't matter. In the IT industry, we're very generous. We know the people that you have to come and learn. But again, if you not know how to open the tool, if you not know some basics in how to write the test cases in QC, probably you're at the wrong place. That's not a charity where people are going to teach you. It will be hard for you. So my goal is I have to bring the whole thing in front of you. I'll show you how it works. I'll give you all those things. You practice and develop. And if you make a mistake, that's fine, because this is a place where you have to make a mistake. Probably after this, no one teach you. Either you learn from yourself or maybe you're not learning. So this is what exactly you're going to do in the industry. Go through the requirement meeting, understand your project. Same thing like a car. Go to the car meeting, understand how the car is going to be. Then you develop the test cases, means you write it down what you're going to test. And then review means people, when reading your test cases, it has to be meaningful. Think about the whole company is coming, so you should know. And then eventually they are definitely going to use some tool where you're going to put those things. So if you see, everywhere, if you're not hands-on, you're going to be a problem. Now, here is a good point. Is the HP or HR better the defect management team? There is no defect management team. I'm talking about the all testers. So basically, there are there are 5 testers in your team. So everybody is working on one project. So let's say you're working and everybody is doing the same thing. They are responsible for their project. They're writing the test cases, they're getting reviewed, and they're putting the test cases into the quality center tool. Who is managing the quality center tool means who is really, so if there is a QC, hold on, let me answer that question. So if there is a QC tool, there will be one guy who will be the admin, that guy will be a tester, maybe one, and all the other testers, tester 2, tester 3, tester 4, they are putting their test cases. They know how to use, and you do some other things too when you execute how. So don't worry about that. We are really, really be good, and you will practice, and everybody, feel good. So you will able to do this. So QC tool is under the QA department. The QA department, testing department, they manage this tool. And testers should know how to use. There's a one guy who will be admin who will do installation, user creation, and things like that. Other people know how to use that. In this training, you will learn both the skills, admin as well as the user's perspective, how to manage this tool and thing. You will be not worry from that perspective. All right, so this is pretty much the next week. My activity will be give you the test cases and use this tool, and then show you how to put the test cases, and then I'll give it to you. Say, hey, you go and put the test cases, and I'll see, and you will see when you put it. It will be visible whether you can do or not do. So you doing pretty much same thing um, what the testers do in the industry. Okay, some changing the topic. That's pretty much we are done with test cases. In future, I will come and show you how to write the good test cases. What are the other criteria for writing. Generally, when I start something, I don't finish. I continue till the last day. The reason is, again, this is not college. You have to remember all the things which we're doing. I don't teach a single line which is not needed for your job, because I try to teach minimum, but minimum theory, but whatever is needed, to do. So, and so going back again, If you're really looking for traceability matrix, someone was asking who developed. So see here, this is the traceability matrix document look like. You may not understand, you will, but within half an hour, I'll explain you and next time, and I'll show you how to develop. And I'm sorry here. So if you want to see, this is the traceability matrix. If you look here, traceability matrix for the project which I'm going to put you, you will write the test cases and you will develop the traceability matrix and you will put these things into the quality center tool. All these in your checklist, and it is you who is going to. Yes, I have. I have a blank. I'll give it to you. You fill it up, and that's a good question. We have all the blank template. That's a good thing we're creating, and you can use and you can practice, and that's we use in the class too. So it'll be good. So I'll give you a blank for traceability. I'll give you the blank template for test cases. I'll give you the blank for test plan. I'll give you a blank template for defect report. You fill it up, create exactly like a, and it'll be good. All right, I'm changing a topic. I'm going to talk a little bit about the different types of testing. I know when this is the one area where a lot of people when join, they read from internet and they pretty much remember like a laundry list. They don't understand how that works. And most of the time when the people in my classroom training, I see half of my people who come, they took the training online somewhere or they took the training somewhere classroom here in DC area. And someone took last year, someone actually, there are two girls who are taking a training somewhere and they found us later on and they're also coming in my class. They're paying there, they're paying to us. I feel sorry for those kind of things, but we don't have control. We don't know everyone. um, what I'm saying is, I really spend a lot of time with the people who already took a training to take out the garbage from, they're all the misconcept. Sometimes I feel good when someone is very blank and not have any background. So we can put the good thing. So don't feel offended, but if you have any misconcept, you have to drop out. We're not needed because in the interview you're going to mess up, in the job you're going to mess up. Um, if you have anything already read, took a training, uh, make sure you know it's in the right way. And if you're not, I think that's the best thing, for me. Um, so I have 15 minutes, so I'm going to spend. I'm not going for. I don't give all the documents on the same day. We'll do step by step. So there are the good notes here. If you really go and read these different types of testing, this is a confusing area. Generally, you don't have to read too much, and I will talk a little bit about what are these things. I have 15 minutes, so, but I'll show you where this stuff is. Just a minute. If you go here, there's a black box and white box. You have heard about that, but be very careful that you're not confused. There are again some black box testing. There's a functionality testing. Um, there's a function testing, uh, unit testing, and integration testing, and all those. System testing, regression. Okay, so acceptance test. So we have to be very careful that we only uh, follow-up question. Did I miss anything? I'm sorry. Did I miss any questions? If any, Arslan, are you asking? Uh, okay, so let me build up some concept. What are the different types of testing? Because we need this. Keep in mind, you have to remember some terminology. Slowly, you have to build that terminology, uh, and uh, and I will keep repeating. First time it is always hard, different. types of testing. This is our last topic of today, and then after this, so basically, go back to the car example, and I'll give you some ideas. I'll ask you some questions too, and I'll show you where this stuff is. If you go like let's say when you're building a car, there are the different engineers who are working in different component of the car. There are the engineers who are working on the engine, there are engineers who are working on the body, there are engineers who are working on the wheel, and so on. So every there are different small groups who are working on the different components of the car, and they make sure that component works. So that is called the unit testing. The same thing in the software. If you see the Gmail or Facebook, which are very familiar, there's a guys who are working on the registration page. There's a developer who's only working on the login module. There's a developer who's working on some other the features. So there is a one called unit testing. Unit testing means whatever the section the developer is working, make sure that thing is work. This testing is not done by the testers. This is done by the developers. And you have to remember the name, and you have also remember who does. That will be an interview. Also, when you go inside the company, you will hear that terminology. Oh, let's do the unit testing. Testers absolutely not involved in that activity. So unless you are a kind of white box tester, so I'll come to that. So this is done by developers. Okay, so in the software we do the unit testing too. Developer write the code before they give it to the testers. Testers does the major testing, all the 90%, 95% testing done by the testing department, but 5-10% done by the other people too. So you should know who they are. So what tool developer use to do unit testing? Well, as I said, developers are very, the coders, they write the code, and depending what code they're writing, whether they're using a Java or a .NET or some PHP, like we have a developers, they have their lot of, their own way. They write the code for testing. They call the test cases they automate. They also use some, there is some code analysis tool, but generally they look into the log file, they write their own test cases, and they do some programming, and they do. So I will say it's mostly for them. Generally they go at the code level and figure out, they look in the log files and why this error is coming and what this is. So makes sense. There's no tool for developers to do the unit testing. Now, once all these things are working, what will be the next in the car? Let's say engine is working and wheels are working and body is working and the steering is working. What will you do the next? You will try to integrate all the things and make sure they work together. There's no point that they are not working together. So there is a next testing called integration. You will hear this term a lot. They generally not involve the tester too. This is also done by the developers. So there are 20 developers in your group. They do the unit testing. They do the integration testing. It means make sure their components are working. So that is again as done by developers. Okay, going back. Now the third thing is then it comes to the QA department, which is, this was in the development, and then QA department does the system testing. You will do pretty much call the functionality end to end. Basically, if you go to Gmail, what is the functionality? It means all the features are working on it. Is the help link is working? Registration is working? Is the login, you can log in with the correct username password? If you give the incorrect username password, it should throw the error. Can you send the email? Can you receive the email? Can you send the attachment? All this is all called the functionality testing. Um, so let's remember that way. Then the fourth thing is, and again, my goal is not here to make the laundry list and give you all the list, and just understand whatever you can, and just remember the small group, and then later on we'll build up more. There's another one is, let's say what happened, the Gmail page is working, all the features are working, but if more and more people start hitting the website, it's possible the links are not working or web page is not coming up. So that's called performance testing. Performance testing means, keep in mind, is you not just check the functionality. What happened is more and more people hit the website and then see whether the same, what happened if 1,000 people hit, is it still can I log in, or it will go hang, or it will be, in the hung state, or can I still register, or what happened if million people hitting, the same website, is those features. So that's called performance. This is also done by the testers. The another is, one more is multi-browser testing. What that means, multi-browser testing means, let's say, Gmail. It's possible that it's working in Chrome. Is it also working in Mozilla? Is it also working in Internet Explorer? Is it also working in Safari? If your company says we need to sell something which should work, what you're going to do is, if there are 100 features you tested in Chrome, you're going to test the same 100 in the Mozilla, same, on others, and you have to pretty much repeat the whole thing. So if you took 1 week in testing in Chrome, it's maybe possible you take 1 week for Mozilla, 1 week for Internet Explorer. Your company understand, they will give you time, they'll pay you, and they say, yes, we really want, you should go and test. So that's another testing. You go, whatever they ask you, like, we want to, my website, QA Online or training portal, long back it was working in few browsers, it was not working in few. Why? Because you need developers to fix it, you need tester to test it, you have to invest money, but nowadays every company wants that it should work in different browsers, so that you have who can validate, testers. um, I'm not going with all. There are some more, usability testing and sanity and smoke and all. So I will include later on, and I'll put one more, UAT. This is called user acceptance testing. Anyone knows who does this? Who does the user acceptance testing? Correct.
User or a
This is
client?
not done by the developer. This is not done by the tester. This is done by the users. So let's say if we got the project from Department of Justice and we are developing the software for them, we will do the unit testing and integration done by my developers. My testers will do the functionality testing, like system testing, performance testing, multi-browser testing. There's regression testing and all. I'll build up all this next time. So that done by my QA, and there's another, the list, security testing, and you will be surprised that how many times they test and how much they test, and that's why there are so many jobs, because nobody wants to take risk, any software, because there's a lot of business issues and legal issues and brand issue and things, so anyway, so user acceptance testing is done by the users for whom you're developing, who are going to use that. As a tester and BA, generally they go and they available, and let's say if we developing a software next month, if we have to deliver, we call the customer and say, hey, we're coming and showing you the software. Can you give us like 5 users who are going to use this software so they can test? And they probably do 2 days, make sure lunch and all those available. They spend time with 2 days. Whatever they're not like, you note it down, bring inside your company, and then fix it. So that's the user, the user acceptance testing. Again, when you go and buy the car, pretty much you also do the user acceptance testing. If you go and buy a new car or old car, whatever, you take the test drive. to make sure how the car is behaving and how the car you feeling. That test drive is pretty much doing the user acceptance testing for that car. You are the user who's going to buy it or use it, and you are testing before you buy it. So a pretty similar concept in the industry too. And you will hear these terms a lot in the industry. Oh, UAT, let's go for UAT or multi-browser testing or performance testing. That's why I said you have to remember the term as well as you have to remember what exactly you are doing. So, uh, so if you see, let me quickly wrap up. So this is done by QA. This is done by QA. This is done by QA. This is done by users, external users or customer. So, um, so if I ask you, if let's say Yahoo.com and Yahoo hired you, and that generally the company decide what kind of testing they have to do, the managers and directors but let's say they want or someone wants in your interview, can you tell me what kind of testing is to be done for this? What are the different types of testing you would recommend based on your limited knowledge which you have? Like 15 minutes back you were not knowing those names, and I'm throwing that question, so I know it's a little I'm expecting too much, but let's do this last drill. So what kind of testing you would like to do? So Yahoo, you go every day, now you think what kind of testing you will do. So that's the last thing, and then we'll wrap up here. So my question is, uh, yahoo.com, what kind of testing you recommend? So you know that you go to Yahoo and you see, like, we were looking a few minutes back here. Um, you're pretty sure that you're going to do, there will be a unit testing. Do you agree? Unit testing means all the modules has to be tested. Then there will be an integration testing. Then there will be a functionality testing. We'll call system testing, and I'll talk to you more. Do you agree? You would like to do this? No, I'm not talking about what features. I'm just talking about what kind of testing you will do. My question is, what type of testing you will do? What type of testing you'll do? I'm not asking like what thing you're going to test. Would you what other kind of testing you will do? Anyone can answer. If you go to Yahoo and if someone is asking you what type of testing you recommend, would you like to do the multi-browser testing for this? Correct. The performance. Why? Because all the features are working, but you would like to figure out what happens if the load increase on this side. How will you do? There is a whole course and there's a whole load runner, this thing, where you will use the tool. The performance testing can be only done using the tool. So you're right, we will do the performance. How? That's not the topic right now. You will do the performance means how the site behaving under the load. That's the tester does. What else you would like to do? Functionality I already entered. I'm sorry, I'm hiding this. So I already entered perform functionality, performance. Any other? Multi-browser, exactly. Your company, you will recommend that, hey, how this site is working in Mozilla and the internet. So you would like to do multi-browser. Means it's pretty simple. You open the browser and test all the things. You open the different browser and make sure all the things. That's the multi. We'll talk how we do. We're not talking about how we do. We're just talking about these names, and I'm trying to connect with some examples. As I say, otherwise people remember and don't connect with the main logic behind that. What else? And then definitely you would like to go for UAT. You try to involve the Yahoo, get some users and see, okay, can you? So there will be a UAT. So bottom line is Yahoo.com will go through unit testing, integration, functionality, performance, multi-browser, and of course, I'll talk when more. I'll talk more. If you if I take another example, and that is the one of the interview question too. What kind of testing you will recommend for Amazon.com? Think about it. Probably, and then think about it, what kind of, you would like to do functionality testing, yes. You would like to do multi-browser, yes. You like to do performance, yes. You like to do UAT, yes. And some more like security and others, so we'll talk next time. Last thing, there are two things you have to remember. One, you have to remember the names. Actually, three. One, you remember the name. One, you remember what exactly that means. And when you read all my stuff, you will get a lot. And we'll talk about black box and white box and all those. I'll draw the whole diagram next lecture, and I'll also give the template. And I say you fill it out. And then I also keep asking you, what will you apply on this website? What will you apply on this project? So you build the concept, and then there is a sequence. So basically, when you have to do the apply the testing, this is the sequence you will follow. Means you will do the unit testing first, then you do the integration, then you do functionality, then you do performance, then you do multi-browser, or maybe multi-browser first, then performance, and then they do the UAT. UAT comes in the end. The same thing like when you go and buy the car, you do the user acceptance testing in the end. Means you take the test drive in the end. Before that, it has to be tested inside the company. Make sense? So there is a sequence involved. So when someone tell you, can you tell me what kind of testing, you keep remember the names, remember what that means, and also tell them in the sequence. You will not do the integration first and unit later. You will do the unit first, the integration. So when you read, keep that criteria in your mind. When we ask the interview, some people really mess up with these things, and that's why my goal is to keep telling you all this. All right, I'm pretty much done. I'm going to mail you all these things to the people yesterday and today lecture, and my audio and this thing. Any questions? When are the test cases due? Good question. Gmail test cases. See, if you go in the company, if they give you the test cases, you work 8 hours and you work all for 5 days. Here you come for 90 minutes or a few 3 days, 4 days. But if you can do here, you can do there. And why? Because I don't give that much time and things. So probably 1 week. I'll send you the email when it is due. 1 week. You have to submit. I'll give you the date. Probably 10 p.m. Um, but 28th May 10 p.m. it is due. It doesn't mean it's due like a college, otherwise you lose the grade. We just have to be disciplined, follow the things same way. But you can discuss with me, you can show me, send me, and after that, if I see the improvement, maybe I keep telling fix this and keep working, but probably 1 week the answer. Hi guys, I know I'm sorry I didn't give you much time to ask the questions because there was things, but next time when you come, first 10 minutes, 15 minutes, all questions. Write down all your questions. I love to answer the question. That way I read your mind. I understand where you are confused, so I can bring up some good examples. And that's my job as a mentor, coach, or trainer, whatever you call. So, all right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for attending, and good night. Talk to you guys later. Yes, absolutely. We will change the schedule. I know Friday is killing, for everyone. I'll call. Oh, my picture. Okay. All right. I want to hide, myself and just, I will do. We'll connect. We'll definitely someday connect and see each other. And yes, we'll talk tomorrow. Everyone, those who registered, give me a call anytime throughout the day. I'm available. We'll talk about this timing, we want everybody should have comfortable enjoy. All right, good night. Thanks a lot.